At exactly 1:47 a.m. on October 14, 2023, Sarah Whitaker's bedroom camera, installed months earlier after a string of break-ins along Old Marshall Highway, captured nothing unusual. No movement, no shadows crossing the blinds, no one standing outside her window. But the audio picked up a voice. Soft, female, familiar. "Hey, baby." Sarah was 27 years old, living alone in a rental cabin just outside Asheville, North Carolina, tucked into a wooded slope where the Blue Ridge Parkway curves away from city lights. Locals will tell you the forest there holds sound differently. It carries, it bends, it lingers. That night, it carried her mother's voice. The problem? Her mother, Linda Whitaker, was at home in Raleigh, 40 minutes by plane, 4 hours by car. The second time the voice came through the audio, it was closer to the window. Open the window. Investigators would later confirm there were no footprints beneath the sill, no disturbed gravel, no fingerprints on the glass. But Sarah heard it. And at 1:49 a.m., against every rule she'd grown up with in the Appalachian foothills, she looked outside. By sunrise, she would tell a 911 dispatcher something that still unsettles deputies in Buncombe County. "I think it wanted me to see it." What she described, standing at the edge of her yard, wasn't an intruder. It wasn't an animal. And according to the call log timestamped 1:52 a.m., the last words her phone recorded from her mother weren't coming from Raleigh. They were whispered, "I'm inside." Then the line went dead. That was the moment this stopped being a family story and became a case file. Sarah Whitaker grew up 20 miles north of Asheville in a small, unincorporated community near the Madison County line. Population sparse, church attendance high, stories older than the roads that connect them. Her grandmother, Evelyn Harper, raised her on what she called mountain sense. Not folklore, not superstition, rules. Don't whistle after dark. Don't answer your name if it's called from the tree line. And if someone you love is outside your window at night, don't look. According to family interviews conducted after the incident, Evelyn never laughed when she said these things. She treated them like seatbelt instructions, practical, non-negotiable. Sarah, by all accounts, was rational. A graduate of UNC Asheville, worked remotely as a UX designer. No history of psychiatric issues, no prior police reports. Toxicology after the incident came back clean. No alcohol, no narcotics, no sleep aids. Friends described her as grounded, skeptical if anything, said her coworker Jason Liu in a recorded statement. She used to make fun of ghost stories. In September 2023, Sarah moved into the Old Marshall Highway cabin to save money. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, surrounded by dense hardwood forest that backed up to protected land. Nearest neighbor, 400 yards downhill. She installed 2 exterior cameras and 1 interior device facing the front door after a bear tore through her trash bins. There had been no reports of prowlers, no active investigations in the area. Nothing that would explain why, 1 month later, she would break the one rule her grandmother repeated most. Looking is the same as opening the door. And on October 14th at 1:49 a.m., Sarah opened something. Investigators reconstructed the timeline using Sarah's phone data, security footage, and the 911 call. At 1:46 a.m., Sarah's phone registered movement, screen activated, likely when she checked for missed calls. At 1:47 a.m., the outdoor microphone picked up the first whisper. Audio specialists later noted something strange. The voice registered without corresponding environmental interference. No wind distortion, no leaf movement. It sounded as if the speaker were inches from the microphone, yet no figure appears on camera. "Hey, baby." Sarah remained silent. That detail matters. Appalachian folklore researchers consulted during the investigation explained that many regional legends share a common theme:
Response establishes acknowledgement. Acknowledgement establishes access. At 1:48 a.m., the voice shifted tone. "Come on, just look at me." Then it said something specific, a childhood nickname, one her mother hadn't used publicly in over a decade. Sarah later told deputies it sounded like her, but flatter, like someone who learned her voice phonetically. At 1:49 a.m., a scraping sound dragged beneath the window frame. Investigators examined the siding the next morning. No claw marks, no tool impressions, no fingerprints on the glass. Then came the line that would repeat in Sarah's nightmares. "There aren't any monsters under the bed." Pause. "They're not under there." That was the moment she stood up, walked to the window, and pulled back the curtain. Breaking the rule her grandmother had framed not as myth, but as survival. Sarah described it in her first official statement at 3:12 a.m., seated at her kitchen table while two deputies from the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office recorded every word. She said, "It was my mom, but stretched." Standing at the edge of the tree line, approximately 30 yards from the house, was a figure wearing Linda Whitaker's face. Too tall by several inches, shoulders narrow, arms hanging longer than proportion allowed, head tilted slightly off-center as though adjusting to gravity. The face, she insisted, was nearly perfect, skin tone correct, hair length accurate, even the small scar near the left eyebrow. But the smile extended too far laterally, beyond natural muscle pull. And the eyes weren't locked on her. They were fixed on the reflection in the window. It was watching itself, she whispered during the interview, practicing. When their eyes finally met directly, the expression shifted instantly. Delight. The mouth opened wider, jaw unhinging beyond anatomical range. Then laughter. High, piercing, artificial. "I got you." The figure stepped backwards without turning, no blinking, no breaking eye contact. And then, according to Sarah, it didn't walk into the trees. It slid. Deputies searched the tree line at first light. No broken branches, no footprints, no drag marks, no biological evidence. Only 30 yards of undisturbed forest floor, and a woman shaking so violently she could barely sign her statement. Immediately after the figure disappeared, Sarah grabbed her phone and called her mother. Phone records confirm the call began at 1:51 a.m. Linda Whitaker answered on the second ring from her home in Raleigh. Cell tower data verifies her location. "Hello?" Linda sounded groggy, normal. Sarah's voice on the recording is strained, breath shallow. "Mom, I think I just had a nightmare." There is a 3-second silence on the line. Audio analysts later described it as dead air without ambient interference. No bedding movement, no HVAC hum, no room tone. Then Sarah says, "Mom?" What follows is faint but audible. A breath, close to the receiver. Then a whisper, "I'm inside." Investigators enhanced the audio multiple times. The whisper does not match Linda Whitaker's vocal signature. Frequency analysis showed subtle variances in pitch, contour, and cadence. Linda insists she never said it. "I was asleep," she told detectives. "I thought she was just anxious." But the whisper didn't sound anxious. It sounded careful, measured. And immediately after it, a thin, restrained laugh, quieter than the one outside, but tonally identical. The line disconnects at 1:52 a.m. Sarah remained in her bedroom for nearly 20 minutes afterwards. No footsteps captured, no alarms activated. The house was silent. Too silent. And that, she would later say, frightened her more than anything she saw. Because if something had come inside, it didn't need to make noise. By 6:30 a.m., deputies conducted a full sweep of the property. Thermal imaging revealed no residual heat signatures in the surrounding woods. Canine units detected no foreign scent trails beyond standard wildlife patterns. No forced entry, no tampering with locks. Digital forensics found known evidence of phone spoofing or AI voice cloning apps installed on Sarah's device. Linda's phone showed no outgoing whisper during the recorded moment in question. Detective Aaron Mills, lead investigator, later stated off-record, if this was a prank, it was executed without leaving a footprint, digital or physical. That's rare. Psychological evaluation was offered. Sarah agreed voluntarily. The clinician's report concluded no signs of psychosis, delusional disorder, or sleep paralysis indicators. Mild acute stress response, consistent with someone who believes they encountered a threat. Friends described her as grounded, skeptical if anything, said her co-worker Jason Liu in a recorded statement. She used to make fun of ghost stories.